clear communication is also key, right? If people are unclear with the expectation, or if that bar keeps moving, then you're gonna have low morale. You're gonna have people who feel like damn if they do, damn if you don't. Right? Trust and accountability. People care that that you trust them to do their jobs, right? But also as leaders, owners, you need to be able to hold them accountable for when they don't, right? And then the next and final one is define roles and responsibilities. If people are clear on what is expected of their defined role, then it helps you, number one, judge whether or not that has or has not taken place. But it also helps them understand what is expected of them when it's expected of them. How many of you all feel like you have nailed these to the T?
Definitely not.
Okay. Where do you guys feel that you've come up short and you feel some type of tension or challenge amongst your teams?
For me, I feel like we have the same shared values, even though it's only two of us.
Okay.
But it comes into defining the roles. I find myself, even though I've designated one person to do something, I end up doing it all. You know, it's like I wanted a certain way, so it's like I find myself all over the place because I'm doing everything.
Mhm. Because you
So
because it sounds like not only is it lack of defined roles, or you may have defined roles that you may not trust.
that's exactly right.
Right. Okay. What else? Anybody else feel? What do they feel like they're coming up short or feel more weak at? And remember, when I say coming up short or feel more weak at, is if we don't identify that today, then there's no way that you can fix it for tomorrow.
I'm not a business owner. I'm a student and I'm a teacher. From
Okay.
what Miss Evans just said, um, when one end up, maybe the lead teacher, let me use that as an instance, end up
Mhm.
doing everything, and the assistant just there looking or not taking that leadership role. Not for me, it's not really about trust. Is they lacking the skills to be a leader? Because
Mhm.
if two leaders meet, then the work becomes light. But when certainly there will be a leader, like she said, she ends up doing everything. She's the leader, while the other one is the assistant to say. So because she has positioned herself to be an assistant in a classroom, they have to be a leader, an assistant, and a supporting staff. So when there is no when the assistant is doing the assistant work, there should be a supporting staff who's going to do the miscellaneous job. You know what I mean? Why the lead instructs these other two assistants to kind of tell them what to do. But if like what she said now, I found myself in that shoe. I end up doing everything, even when I have someone who ought to take a leadership role as well, to initiate ideas, to initiate actions. I see them to lack the skills. I see them to lack the skills because when it will be unprofessional when you keep telling someone to please pick up the child. Please, the child is about to fall. Um, um, you keep instructing and instructing and instructing, then it becomes unprofessional because that is not what the ethics says. Like you are dominating, you are controlling. It seems so, but in the other sense, the other person lacks the skills to take initial action.
Mhm. So I think there's a couple things to be said, right? Is that you have people who are doers and you have people who lead or maybe are thinkers or strategic or whatever. But when you think about team or high performing teams, um, think about think about understanding trust and accountability, right? A lot of times as owners or as lead people, we don't trust people to do the work because we're too busy trying to we're too busy thinking about they're not doing the work like I would do it. And here's the thing is they shouldn't do the work like you do it because you do the work. right? That's what standard operating procedures help with, is to understand the framework as to which the work should operate. But then they still need to be allowed to trust, to know that you hired them to complete a job. And if the steps that they take are within the frameworks that you've assigned on the standard operating procedure, then let them do the work, right? A lot of times owners become state operators within their business, right? Because they don't trust people to do the work the way they would do it. When you need to trust people to do the work, that you have defined and clearly communicated to them what it is. You see the difference? Okay. So I got a little use case, right? So a use case I have is Jackie brought her team together to have a recent conversation and create a shared vision and staff buy-in, begin to grow and peer accountability follow. By aligning our team around common goals and values, Jackie shifted from only being enforcer of standards to leading a team that upheld quality together. What's important to note about this is understanding how you communicate vision, right? We should never assume that people understand the vision that we have for our own business. We should never understand that people understand and know the vision that we have for our classroom. We have to communicate the North Star, right? We communicate the North Star to allow people to buy in. So, for example, you know how you have to do marketing, right, for your business, right? And in marketing, the whole goal of marketing is to get people to buy into your message so that they can come to your daycare. Am I correct? Yes or no? Right? Marketing, the activities of marketing, the ownership. You should never assume that people should just automatically get on board. You should share the vision and get buy-in, because understanding that these people are on board shows that they are in what? Alignment, right? They share the same values, right? Because now you guys are all going in the same direction. Now the how you get it done is not the conversation. It's understanding that you guys are on the same road, right? That you're in alignment, wanting the same thing, right? So Joan, your person, right? Your other person in your classroom may not do it the way that you do it, but the end result is the same, right? And that's what matters. All right. So when you start thinking about teams, right? When we talk about team roles and dynamics, you want to define roles and responsibilities clearly, identify cover gaps, and support growth to transparent pathways. People want to know, what does it take to move up, right? People want to know what's expected of them. People want to understand what is considered meet expectations, below expectations, and above expectations, right? That should be clearly defined. You'll get more disgruntled workers more disgruntled workers who don't understand expectations. Therefore, they're gonna always just do the bare minimum because they don't know where the bar is, right? So you want to make sure that you're clear on what their responsibilities are to prevent confusion. You want to make sure the essential tasks are as a clear owner, right? Like, you're supposed to be doing this. And then staffs can see their and the staffs are clear about their true advancement opportunities, right? Your goal as an owner, as a leader of your classroom, is to be transparent about what that is, right? And then provide the appropriate level of support to hopefully make that happen for them. And now I want to be very clear. This does not require that you be perfect either. Okay? This requires that you start to understand and to bring people along the pathway with you. That's what leaders do. Leaders don't have to lead that by force. They learn to bring people along the pathway with them as they go forward. You'd be amazed to what people will buy into when they feel as if you have got a grasp about the vision and have communicated to them in a way that attracts them and aligns with them, that they'll walk with you on that pathway, right? That you don't have to know everything. All right, so I'm just gonna do an uncovering a role overlap. So, say you consider a teacher was doubling as an informal admin due to unclear boundaries. Right? After listing out her own each responsibility, director saw that the duties had no clear home, right? I know we've had that sometimes. Well, aren't you supposed to be doing that? But I thought you were supposed to be doing that. and which staff need the support and not merely be just a responsibility, right? That's understanding the level of competency of all your staff members, right? Because you're gonna have staff members who are just more experienced than others, right? But if you don't know that there's a staff member who may not have any more experience than another teacher, right? Then you're gonna be unclear on how to match these people up for which classroom, right? Because you can have two strong teachers in a classroom, but you can't have two weak teachers in a classroom, right? Floating, so scenarios of floater, excuse me, is running the classroom unsupervised while the assigned lead teachers prep for materials in the storage closet. The admin walks in, unsure of who's in charge, right? Group prompt is like, where would the breakdown be? How could role clarity and expectations have prevented this, right? One, whoever's the admin needed to be clear just to ask questions, right? So we want to make sure that we create a scenario in a place where people can ask questions, right? Right, to be clear. But what happens, right, if this happened during a licensing visit, right? If an admin comes in and they have a licensing, a person who's from the licensure from North Carolina, and she walks in and she's unclear about who the lead teacher is that not problematic, right? So we want to make sure, what we want to make sure is that people are clear about who they are, who's responsible for specifically in our classrooms. So when we talk about accountability, we're talking about strategy, right? So that looks like clarity. Everybody knows how to open the center. Read parents. Be responsible. That comes through your standard operating procedures. I'm pretty sure that you all have had in place. Right? Control. Director text reminders every morning. Right? Checks cameras to ensure staff are doing what's expected. That's very different than clarity, right? But what does that mean? If people are clear, then you have to do what? Trust them to do the role. That control them, trust them. The next thing for accountability is coaching. Notice that transitions was rough. Want to brainstorm ideas to help kids to move more smoothly, versus just correcting them. For example, you need to get these kids in line fast. This isn't working, right? Do you see the difference between having an open relationship with your employees and having a closed relationship with your employees? When you want an open relationship with your employees, you want to be able to trust them to do the job you hired them to do. If you did not want them to do the job they hired you to do without their supervision, you need to go hire high school students who you can give direction to, right?
Right.
So what you want to do is ensure that accountability comes with clarity and coaching, not micromanage, which was come control and correcting, because they're not children, right? They're full autonomous adults who, one, either have had experience or you've trained them enough, right? Or you're in the middle of training, having training moments, is where the coaching comes in, to where you can coach them up to where they need to be, right? So for example, I always do success stories like the center struggling with repeat missteps, beginning using a weekly reflection sheet for the staff. Instead of micromanaging, leaders coach staff through challenges in a structured, non-punitive way, right? So what this states is that instead of chopping down on one person, you can just say, hey, we're going to go over our reflection sheet. Let's talk through the challenges that we have for the week, right? Or let's talk about the challenge we have for the month if you guys have monthly meetings, or the challenges that we have for the quarter if you guys have quarterly staff meeting, right? But this gives you a way to look at the challenges and be able to problem solve together. You being the leader does not mean you have to take initiative in problem solving. You being the leader means that you create a shared space where everybody's have the ability to take responsibility and ownership of what's happening in the business and ownership happening in the business and hold the responsibilities for that, right? Because your brain, you being the leader does not mean that you're the only one that have a brain. You being the leader is you're having the ability to bring people in together, right? So a key insight is that, like I said before, clarity gives staffs ownership. Coaching builds skill and confidence, and reflection creates space for growth without fear, right? So you want to incorporate clarity, coaching, and reflection versus control and correcting.
May I respond to that?
Yes.
Okay, I'm driving. So, I agree with everything
because the mouth of the children are always bleeding. Cut.
Our second one. And this is the first time I have had a staff. So and I've been in leadership for 50 years. I've retired back in so it's always been in high leadership roles, especially the higher end. So one of my team members said to me and made a very good call when I first started, when we did together. They said, Linda, we're here to help you. So we understand the vision. We have bought into the vision. But you gotta help allow our own help. And I said, okay. I love it. Okay. That was hard, but it wasn't. I'm gonna have to go on mute now.
Okay.
So that's one, and I'll come back later.
No, I love that. I love how that was framed, right? Is that you have to get out of your own way as a leader. And that required you to let go of your ego of thinking that you're the only one that can do it and can do it right. But if you could, then you should do it all. Just like I said, go hire some high school students that you can give direction to, because that's what you want to teach, right? Right? But that's not what you want. Right. So let's talk about business management and operational excellence. How many feel like y'all struggling in the business management and operational excellence side? Okay. So give me some examples of what you're struggling with.
So I think for me, just being able to multitask with all, for me being a newer center, the new laws, the new regulations, the change, the just making sure, just balancing it all, because I'm doing all of that part. So that's really the biggest thing. And then of course some of the additional, when you don't have the money to hire all the professionals right now, so you're having to streamline it and do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you the only staff member, Ebony?
No, I'm not the only staff member.
Okay. How many people do you have?
3.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else want to share? The reason I'm asking you guys to do this is that you guys are owners. So I'm guaranteed there's some things that you guys share across the board as far as challenges are concerned in this area. And number 2, at the end, we're going to be able to help each other with some of these things, right? We're going to have a brainstorming session, ladies. Anybody else have some problems in this area?
I want to suggest. I'm not a business owner yet. I'm getting this formation for the future.
Wait, hold on, just a quick second. Are this for a challenge that you have, or if you give it a suggestion? If it's a suggestion, we gotta wait till the end.
Okay, I'll wait till the end. Yes.
Okay.
Could you repeat that again? I'm sorry, I had to go.
Yeah, no problem. So what challenges are you guys having when it comes to managing the business and managing the operations of the business?
Goodness, a lot of challenges.
Well, go ahead, Linda.
Well, okay, one is, first of all, taking care of yourself. That's a big challenge that I have.
Okay.
Financial stability.
Okay.
And the financial stability also means charging appropriately and not being, I want to help my parents. I've got to.
Linda? Okay. So let me come back. Anybody else want to share? All right.
Well, I guess I will finish for Linda. She was discussing her financial stability in the process of trying to help her parents. I had a wake-up call for the first time. I've been in business for 28 years. So I had one you know, what the issue of helping your parents. But the reason why I tell the story is because when we're busy trying to help, because people are, what this summer made me realize, everybody's going to say they don't have enough money until there's something that they really want to do, and then they find the money. So, well, for one of the parents is having another baby, so she was like, "Well, can I take my daughter out for the summer?" But she didn't want me to fill the slot because she wanted the child to come back at the end of the summer. Well, lo and behold, I never have held the slot before, and this taught me not to ever hold the slot again, because then, being that she was having a third child, she practically wanted her third child to come for half price or free. And I have to make her understand that every slot in the daycare determines my business growth and how much I'm able to pay. It determines the lights, the water, the food, the access quality of the child care program altogether. So no, so at the end, when she felt like, well, she would try to tell me, well, and I'm already giving her a big discount, mind you, she wanted an additional discount. And I think that she felt like, well, if she told me, well, I'm considering moving the kids, because when you are in home, um, and you only get to take so many kids, that's like a deadly bullet when you have half your children getting gone at one time. But I guess she thought that being that she was saying that she was gonna move the kids, I was gonna give her the discount. But I went on ahead and let her move her child. But in the midst, I had been holding the spot for her child that she took out for the summer because she to lose money. So I would never, ever, 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 because